Hello everyone, Soberoni of GNA Reviews here with another event guide, this time for the upcoming CCC event in FGO-NA. Just like with all my guides, this is going to be super in-depth, covering everything from the new craft essences to the best farming strategies. So to make it easier for you guys to navigate the video, you can check the description for timestamps so that you can jump ahead to whatever part of the guide you need the most. I should also mention that this guide is spoiler free. This is actually part 1 of 2 guides I have going. This guide is only going to touch on the event itself. My second guide, part 2, is going to touch on the story and the bosses and boss strategy. That guide will contain spoilers, but for now, we're just going to be talking about farming for the event. I should also mention that in order to participate in this event, you have to have completed the entire Solomon Singularity, which means Camelot, Babylon, and Solomon. Once you've done that, you'll be able to participate in the event. With all that said, let's move on to talking about the new event servants. With this event, we'll be getting 5 brand new servants. However, only 4 of them are going to appear in part 1, starting with the new welfare servant, BB. BB is the 4-star Moon Cancer with a max attack of 8,197 and a max HP of 13,643. She has a single target Arts Noble Phantasm, and as the free servant for the event, you will be getting her automatically when you complete the story. But in addition to her, we also have 3 new servants appearing in the gacha. First off, we have Melt Lilith, the new 5-star Alter Ego. She has a max attack of 11,692 and a max HP of 13,402. She has a single target Quick Noble Phantasm. And joining her, we have another 4-star Alter Ego in Passion Lip. She has a max attack of 10,299 and a max HP of 10,901. She has an AoE Buster Noble Phantasm. And finally, the last gacha servant is the 4-star Saber Suzuka Gozen. She has a max attack of 9,544 and a max HP of 11,753, and likewise also has an AoE Buster Noble Phantasm. Those are going to be all the new servants in part 1 of the event. Let's talk about the new craft essences. We'll be getting 5 brand new craft essences with this event. 3 of them are going to be available in the gacha, while the other 2 are going to be either earned as a reward or purchasable from the shop. Let's start off with the gacha ones first, starting off with the 3-star, the Cage. This craft essence is going to increase your NP gauge by 10% at the start of the battle, and increase your NP gain when attacked by 15%. In addition, for the event only, it's going to increase the appearance rate of Type 1 enemies by 20%. If you limit break it, it's going to increase your NP gauge and NP gain by 20%, and increase the appearance rate of Type 1 enemies by 50%. Outside of the event, this is also a good craft essence for servants with a taunt like Mosh, Leonidas, and George. Moving on, we have the 4-star Student Council of the Lunar Sea. This is going to increase Arts and Buster Card effectiveness by 10% and increase the appearance rate of Shapeshifter enemies by 20%. When limit broken, it's going to increase Arts and Buster Card effectiveness by 15% and increase the appearance rate of Shapeshifter enemies by 50%. This is a great craft essence outside of the event because it works perfectly for servants with a mixed Buster Arts deck like Emiya, David, and Arjuna. And finally, we have the last gacha craft essence, which is the 5-star Our Conquest is the Sea of Stars. It increases Buster Card effectiveness and NP gain by 15%, and increases the appearance rate of Eater enemies by 20%. When limit broken, it's going to increase your Buster Card effectiveness and NP gain by 20%, and increase the appearance rate of Eater enemies by 50%. This is actually a top tier craft essence, and it's absolutely amazing on any Buster servant that has a strong Noble Phantasm like Gil, Nobu, or Rama. Moving on, let's take a look at the free craft essences you can earn from the event. First up, we have Premonition of the Beginning. It grants 2 crit stars per turn and increases your NP gauge by 2% per turn. And for the event, it's going to increase Sakura trip drops by 1. If you max limit break it, it's going to increase your NP gauge by 3% per turn, grant 3 crit stars per turn, and increase ship drops by 2. This is actually a decent craft essence for supports like Helena and Hans as well. And finally, we have the 5-star Sometime in Summer. This increases quick card effectiveness by 8%, NP strength by 8%, and increases your NP gauge by 30% at the start of the battle. It'll also increase the appearance rate of Sakura enemies by 20%. If you max limit break it, it's going to increase your quick card effectiveness and NP strength by 10%, and increase your NP gauge by 50% at the start of the battle. It'll also increase the appearance rate of Sakura enemies by 50%. Another top tier craft essence. This is actually one of the best craft essences for quick servants. I highly recommend you do get it because it's perfect for servants like Melt, Okita, and Ku. So those are going to be the new craft essences we're getting. Let's talk a little bit about the shop. The item shop for this event is similar to many other item shops. There are 3 different currencies: Sakura money, Sakura chips, and KP. However, what is different for this shop compared to all the other shops is that the only currency you can earn from free quest is the Sakura chip, which is going to be primarily what you're going to farm and use for purchasing things from the shop. With Sakura chips, you can purchase 5 copies of Premonition of the Beginning. You can also purchase Beast Gallstones, Reverse Dragon Scales, Lagunos, Phoenix Plumes, Bicorn Horns, Seashells, Horseshoes, Pages, Dragon Teeth, Yggdrasil Seeds, Evil Bones, a Crystal Lore, Saber, Archer, and Lancer Monuments and Pieces, 4-star and 3-star experience, and 3-star attack and HP foes, as well as 500 mana prisms. If you plan on buying everything from the shop, it's going to cost you 33,700 Sakura chips. And like I said, that's going to be the primary thing you're going to farm. The Sakura money is actually going to be used for story progression, which we'll touch on a bit later, and KP is completely separate. It's something that's going to be used specifically for one fight. So the only real currency you're going to be using to buy Ascension materials from the shop is Sakura chips. The structure for this event is going to be the exact same as Kara no Kyokai and Fate Excel Zero. It's going to be mission based. There's going to be 100 different missions that range in difficulty from things like defeat a certain enemy 100 times, to completing certain story chapters, to raising your bond level with BB. These are all very self-explanatory, so I don't want to touch on them too much. However, there is going to be a section of this guide that goes in detail on where you can farm to fulfill the request of some of these missions. In addition to the mission structure, however, there's also going to be a unique gimmick called BB slots. Basically what this means is every time you enter a quest, there's going to be a slot machine that rolls, and depending on what turns up, you can either get a buff or a debuff. This is a table of all the buffs and debuffs that you can get, and buffs are going to last for 10 turns and cannot be removed. So just be aware that this mechanic exists, and it can be infuriating or very helpful. The story for this event is going to be the most complex and difficult of any event we've ever had in FGO-NA. Therefore, it's going to get its own separate guide, which will appear later on this week, so look forward to that. However, what I do want to cover in this guide is story progression and unlocking BB. Story progression in this event is not the same as it is in any other event. Stories are going to be locked behind items in the shop. There's going to be a unique currency called Sakura money, and this money is only rewarded as a reward for completing missions. You cannot farm Sakura money, you only get it from beating certain missions. You have to use this Sakura money to buy specific items that appear in the shop, and buying those items will then in turn unlock new story missions. Because this setup is completely different from anything else we've ever seen in the story, a lot of people get tripped up here and get confused about how to progress in the story. So 99.9% of the time, if you don't see another story chapter and you're confused about where to go next, the answer is you need more Sakura money to buy a key from the shop to unlock the next story section. So make sure you prioritize doing missions that reward you with Sakura money. Next up, let's talk about BB. In order to unlock BB, you have to complete the story missions. Once you complete all these story missions, you get your first copy of BB. And then you get additional copies of BB from completing mission 80, 81, 82, and 83, so that you can level up your Noble Phantasm to NP5, and you get Ascension materials from BB for completing missions 75, 79, 84, and 90. So simply put, if you complete all of the story quests and you complete all of the missions, you will have your NP5 level 80 BB. So let's talk about farming for the shop currency. Like I said earlier, the only currency you can farm for in this event is Sakura chips. Both KP and Sakura money are not farmable. They come as rewards from completing missions. So therefore, the only thing you have to worry about farming are the Sakura chips from the free quests. All these CCC servants are going to increase your Sakura chip drops by 1, while the brand new servants for this event are going to increase your Sakura chip drops by 2. On top of that, remember there's also going to be the craft essence in the shop that increases Sakura chip drops by 1. So make sure you make good use of that craft essence and those bonus servants whenever you're farming. You get the bonuses to your drop rate even if they're in the back row, so even if you have a level 1 Emiya or level 1 Nero, put them in your back row to make the most of it. As far as what you should prioritize, you should immediately try purchasing all 5 of the craft essences from the shop, but do not max limit break them, keep them separate so you can maximize the drop rates. You should also prioritize getting the Sakura craft essences from the mission list. It's going to make farming a lot easier in the late game, and once you have all 5 Sakura craft essences, you should max limit break them ASAP. And going along with that, you should prioritize doing missions over farming for chips. Don't worry about chip farming until all your missions are complete. The reason why is because you're going to earn thousands of chips passively just by doing missions. Also, the best spots to farm for the chips aren't available until you finish the story. So just focus on doing missions and then farming for chips later on. Speaking of which, the best spot for farming for Sakura chips is going to be the Weakness Ear free quest, the one with Lubu, because it has the most Sakura enemies. If you farm that location with a max limit broken Sakura craft essence and you bring a support who also has a max limit broken Sakura craft essence, you're going to be able to face 16 Sakura enemies, all of which will drop chips. So I highly recommend going into this battle with 2 max limit broken Sakura craft essences and as many bonus servants and premonition of the beginning craft essences as you can to maximize your drops. If you're not able to complete that mission or it seems too tedious for you, you can also just equip a max limit broken Sakura craft essence and farm any of the BB free quests with as many bonus services as you're able to. All of the free quests that open up after you complete the story drop a fairly good amount of Sakura chips. Now with Sakura chip farming out of the way, let's talk mission farming. The most important thing to know about mission farming is which craft essences give which bonuses. Our Conquest of the Ocean of Stars is going to increase the Eater enemies, Sometime in Summer is going to increase Sakura enemies, Student Counselor of the Lunar Sea is going to increase Shapeshifter enemies, and the Cage is going to increase the appearance rate of Type 1 enemies. On top of that, the best places to farm enemies really depends on your event progression. Sometimes you're not going to be able to access the best farming locations until after the story is beaten. But I'm still going to present the best places to farm each of these enemies. So for farming these Shapeshifter enemies, you're going to want to farm Cruel Thenner, the one with the cool Ultra Boss, because there are going to be 8 Shapeshifters. If you need to farm Eaters, make sure you farm the Rejection Cav with Dante's. It has 8 Eater enemies. The best place to farm Sakura worms is going to be the Dark Hand with Karna. There's going to be 4 Sakura enemies there. And after you beat the story, the best place to farm Sakura worms is going to switch to the Smart Liver, where you'll fight Saber Alter and 6 Sakura worms. Sakura bots can be found in Weakness Ear with Lubu. There's going to be 4 of them. After beating the story, you can switch farming to Slip Knee with Tawara Toda, where you'll fight 6 Sakura bots. The Sakura Handler enemy is going to be found in Weakness Ear or Spinal Coaster. Those are going to be Lubu or Shakespeare's levels respectively. Each one is going to have 4 Sakura Handlers. And once you beat the story, the best place to farm Sakura Handlers is going to be the Last Step free quest with Coup Prototype. There's going to be 6 of them there. Type 1 enemies are going to be farmed in Breast Valley with Kid Gil. There's going to be 6 of them. Type 2 enemies can be farmed in Underarm Ray or Jail Hand with Li Shuwen or Arjuna respectively. There's going to be 5 of them. Type 3 enemies can be farmed in a number of places, including Cordic Hip, Secret Nape, or Dark Hand with Rama, Jaguar Man, and Karna respectively. There's going to be 3 type 3 enemies in each of those locations. But once you complete the story, you should then switch to farming Lover Squeeze or Bottom Heel with Mordred and Nursery Rhyme, where you'll find 6 type 3 enemies in each area. And then finally, the type X enemy is going to be found in Stamp Thenner with Quetzalcoatl, and there's just going to be 1. And finally, we have Ascension material farming. I don't recommend doing this until after you've completed the story. You can farm Chaos Claws and Stingers in Kind Touch. Hearts and Snake Jewels can be farmed in Lover Squeeze. Snake Jewels and Gallstones can be found in Only Heart. Spirit Roots and Chains can be found in the Smart Liver. Octuplet Crystals and Bloodstone Tears can be found in Slip Knee. Stingers and Reverse Dragon Scales can be farmed in Bottom Heel. And Bicorn Horns and Phoenix Plumes can be farmed in Last Step. And that about wraps up everything you need to know about the event, at least from the event's perspective. Again, I didn't touch on the story bosses or anything like that here. That's going to be a whole separate guide coming out later this week, so do look forward to that. The only other thing I want to mention is this is going to be a very long event, so don't feel the need to rush through it. You have 3 weeks. No need to use apples anytime soon. Just use your natural AP for now and take your time farming and completing the missions. If you try to blitz through it, you're only going to burn yourself out. This is not your normal event. And to summarize, make sure you focus on completing the missions first, buy the event craft essence from the shop, earn those event craft essences from the reward ladder, and make sure you purchase the story items from the shop to unlock more story content. If you guys have any questions, let me know in the comments below. Like I said, I know this is a very complicated event, but if this video did help, make sure you click that like button and subscribe so you can catch part 2 when that goes up. Also, make sure you check the description down below for a list of all the servant spotlights for the new servants with this event, so you know if they're worth rolling for or not. If you haven't already, do follow us on Twitch and Twitter and join the party over on our Discord. And I will see you all in the next guide. Soberoni out. Later.